Hello and welcome, everybody listening to and watching this new series of 2020 Coaching Convos with me, Julie Crabb. This is episode 5 of the podcast, and I'll be hosting conversations, absolutely no surprise there, with the level of respect as is required in coaching for the confidentiality of clients. So in these conversations, we'll be talking about reflections from cases in coaching practice, hence the rather cheesy title I've given to this series of Case by Case. So from my perspective, reflecting on case studies or case practice, real case practice in coaching is a really brilliant tool for development and learning. And that's true for qualified and for trainee coaches. But it also occurred to me it's really useful for people who are interested in trying coaching for themselves, who maybe don't know quite yet how and why it can work in enabling personal change. So here we are, case by case. We'll be exploring what we've learned, maybe from a single case study. Sometimes it'll be discussing a technique or a practice that the guest of this particular episode is keen to explore. So this week, my guest is Bianca Vickers. She's a coach in training who struck me when I first met her as somebody who's on a really exciting and accelerated learning journey with her coaching practice. But I'll let her tell you more about it herself in a very short while. So welcome, Bianca Vickers.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on your podcast today.
Oh, it's great to have you, Bianca. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm actually really excited to be on here, so thank you so much.
Good, that's great. And what's been happening for you since we last met?
Oh, since we last met, a lot has been going on. So I'm still in my coaching training at the moment, coming towards the end of it. So I've been doing lots of training, learning, and I've also set up an online business. I've been doing a lot of work with that as well. So lots of exciting things going on in the background. I've also just started putting together some like journal prompt sheets, which I'm hopefully going to start sending out to people. So that's something that people can look forward to as well. So lots going on in the background for me since we last
Wow.
spoke.
That is a lot. We'll probably have to come back to a couple of those things, won't we, as we go along. So I'm curious, have you already decided on a business name for your business?
So I have currently, mine is Be Healthy, Be Happy, Be You.
Oh
And the
wow.
idea of the B is because I'm Bianca and I get called B. Um, and it also says live life, feel good because that's my online business as well. The idea is that my approach is all about health and well-being and having that balance because that's kind of an experience that I'm having to learn myself. So it's kind of embodying what I already practice myself and putting that into my business name. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, wow. So that's two things that you're integrating together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've realized I've come at this entirely the wrong way round because what I really intended to do was start by asking you just to tell us a little bit about how you got attracted to coaching and how you came to be training and pretty well qualifying right now.
Yeah, so it was really an interesting journey. Before I came into teaching, I was a primary school teacher and I also did a bit of governess work. And I've always felt like my, say, a higher purpose in life is to help people. And obviously, I just didn't realize how. I thought it was through teaching, but unfortunately, I burnt myself out to ill health, which is where I thought, how else can I help people? Because clearly this is I'm helping others, but I'm neglecting myself. So I ended up going on a retreat to India in 2024. And while I was there, I had a few people asking me about my past, my life story, and they reflected back how inspired they were and that I should help people with my story. So a little spark was like put into my brain, and I thought, could I help people this way? I still feel my purpose is to help people, but just how? Maybe it's a different way. So I had thought about coaching. The irony behind it is I clearly did not know what coaching was. I thought it was giving advice. So we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Mhm.
When I came back from India, I did a mindset and embodiment course for myself. And one of the girls on that course was actually doing a coaching diploma. And she said, they have an introduction webinar. Why don't you have a look at it? So I went on there. They talked about coaching, and I thought, wow, like all these characteristics, the type of person you are, the people that you help. I was like, this is me. This is like something made for me. So I signed up, and then the more I got to learn about the coaching, the more I realized, Bianca, you're not going to be giving advice. You're actually going to be reflecting and helping other people find the advice from within them, and like find their own answers. So that definitely put me back in my place. I was like, okay, this is not what I thought it was. But actually, when I saw the magic unravel, I realized this is what I was meant to be doing, and it wasn't advising, it was being that person to empathize and listen, something that I've always naturally been doing throughout my life and just not realized that that was a skill as such and a quality. So yeah, that's kind of what led me to where I am today, and I'm just excited to help people in a way that hopefully is my way of helping people.
Yeah, fantastic. And it probably wouldn't take a genius to recognize that you're somebody who's a giver and who loves connecting with people. Um, and you're not the first or last person to have burnt out in a giving and connecting role. But what I'm curious about is of all the things that you might have chosen to do to manage that burnout, tell us how you ended up on a retreat.
Oh, so when I was doing my governess role, I was actually speaking to the grandma of the family whose children I was looking after. And I said, I've come to a point where I'm struggling to walk, struggling to sit up, and I'm having all this pain and I don't know where it's come from. And I didn't think I was burning out. I just thought, where's this come from? What is it? And she said, I think you need a detox retreat. And what you might think is, say, back pain might actually be something else. It might be to do with your gut or something like that, and not actually looking after yourself. So I took that point and thought, okay, I left my job because it was coming to a point where I couldn't function properly and I was not really helpful. I was just burning myself into the ground. And so I took what the grandma had said and thought, maybe I do need to try a detox. I mean, I haven't been eating healthily because I've just been eating whatever I could when I could. And I've not been living a very healthy and active lifestyle. So I went off to the retreat, and for me, being a very fussy eater, it was like, right, you're going to have an Ayurvedic style food, which is in India, very, very much kind of like a vegetarian sort of based cuisine. And they talk to you about different parts of your body, something called doshas. I could go into this all day. I found it so fascinating. But basically, different elements of your body and what's happening with your specific body, and how you can try and bring it back to balance. And so I got onto this retreat, trying lots of new things, having different treatments and things, and slowly my body started getting better. It's not there at the moment. It's not like where it should be, but I really realized a lot while I was there, and it changed me mentally, physically, and although my health isn't at its best still, I learned a lot, which was fascinating and amazing. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where you feel like you're meant to go somewhere for a reason, and I feel like it's all brought me on the path to where I am today. So I'm grateful for all of that.
Mm, that's amazing. And you said you don't feel like you're quite there. And yet I'm sitting here thinking, wow, Bianca just exudes energy. And
Oh, thank you.
what I wanted to ask you is, apart from a good diet and the sort of obvious things that can bring you energy, where on a daily basis, where do you draw your energy from?
Oh, that's really interesting. So I think something I've learned as well, and you will find I go from one thing to another. I'm someone who loves learning. I've learned about something called human design. And my human design is that I'm a projector. And the idea behind a projector is that you need to really look after the energy that you have and the energy that you give off. And me being a giving sort of personality, I need to be really careful with that. I'm not giving too much and wearing myself out. Um, and I find it really fascinating. And because of learning things like this, I now know that I really need to prioritize my energy so that if I'm feeling a bit drained, then I need to spend some time resting so that then I can give. And especially in coaching, it's a space where you are holding a lot of energy and space for people. So I need to protect that energy aside, like before and afterwards. And I find it's getting myself into that space. Something I've started learning is like breath work, and breath work's really good for the nervous system. So I've learned about that, and that's something I'm practicing. And also having some feel good vibes. Like I've got a very strange playlist that's got like Bob Marley on it, and then there's Don't Worry, Be Happy, and then some uplifting random tunes on there that they've just got good vibes, they've got good words, and I find as soon as I put that on, I just start like digging along, and the smiles, and energy comes out. So no matter how drained I am, that's something. And I think it's finding whether you like to dance or whether, I don't know, you decide to watch a funny clip that's about a dog if you're a dog person, finding something for you that really gives you that little boost when you need it. I think that's really important and something that I've been doing. I'm not sure if that answers your question. I know I went all over the place.
Completely. Yeah, no, completely. And actually, what you've been telling us is absolutely fascinating. I was thinking about how where you draw your energy from is around lots of different sensory information as well, lots of sensory energy and activity. And this is slightly to a side, but I was chatting with my husband about the film and the novel Chocolat, and the author, I think it's Joanna Harris, said that the way she got into the writing mode was to smell a particular perfume that she associated with one of the characters. I thought, wow, that's really strong, isn't it? Using a sensation or a sense to really embody what you want to get. And yeah, I can hear what you're saying about lots of different sensory processes engaged in the energy that you draw from them. So you told us, Bianca, quite a lot about your coaching. I'm curious, and actually you told us a bit about how you're combining two businesses together. Do you have a sense of a vision of where you're going to go with those two businesses?
So I don't have a massive vision at the moment. This is just something that they've just come together. I've not really known where I was going after teaching. My health has been my main focus,
Hmm.
and these are things that I can put in around my health, and that's why I was interested in them because I thought I'm completely burning out and I'm not sure what I can or can't do on a daily basis at the moment, whether it's my physical health or mentally. My symptoms can change daily. So I thought I need something where I can focus on my health and other things can fit in around it, which is why I thought coaching, I can do that, as and when I can fit in. Rather than 9 to 5, off you go, you are going to work when we tell you. I could be in charge. And with my other business, that's something else where I put the hours in. So the idea for me, my vision is that I will be able to work both alongside each other. And both are very much coming from a place of serving people. And my biggest why is my highest purpose is helping people. That's what I feel anyway. And knowing that I can help people find a life of living in balance is something that is a big dream for me because I know myself that burning out yourself is not helping anybody else. And especially if you are that giving type, you want to give, but if you neglect yourself, you're going to be no help to anyone. A bit like the aeroplane situation, you've got to put your oxygen mask on first. As much as you want to help others, you've got to help you first. So I think the vision for me is being able to help other people, knowing that I'm not neglecting myself, because then I'm able to give more from a better version of me as well. If that makes any sense. In my head, it does.
Yeah, completely. It does to me too.
All
And
health.
and what I can hear is very strong values and a very strong sense of self-concept that you're growing. So, Bianca, could we move on to, say, a specific case study or a specific set of kind of people that you've worked with from which perhaps some different things have emerged that have really struck you? And I guess what I'm trying to pull out here is maybe something that you've learned about the client and their role in the coaching process, or coaching skills and techniques, or your special and personalized style as a coach, or maybe just the kind of coachee's session journey, anything that you want to pull out. So could you just give us a bit of context first of this particular technique, or what is it that you want to share that's a particular learning for you?
So for me, there's not really a specific actual case study as I'm still learning and getting to grips with what exactly my niche is, where I'm going with things. But one thing that really stood out to me, and I've noticed it, and it gives me a fuzzy feeling in my tummy every single time it happens with different clients, is this magical moment of them realizing things. So, for example, they might tell me something, and as soon as I reflect it back to them, it's like they've heard something completely new, even though it's literally come from themselves. And they just have this, oh, well, I didn't think about it like that. And wow, this has been such a realization. And I feel it's like, I call it like a magic mirror moment because all I'm doing is being the mirror, reflecting back to them what they've just told me. And all of a sudden it clicks. And it's just, I think the magic feeling between I know it, but I don't believe it myself. Yet when I tell you and you tell me it back, oh, suddenly something's happened. And I find that absolutely magical. And I've noticed it with quite a few clients. They call it light bulb moments, but I just feel a sort of magical buzz when I recognize it. So that's why I call it a magical mirror moment. And that's something that I've really enjoyed witnessing in others. And just
Yeah.
that idea of them recognizing, oh, so that answer was always there. And I've thought of that answer. You've not told me that answer. Why have I never thought of it before? Sort of feeling it's like you're seeing them have this conversation with themselves all in like such a short space of time. And it's just magical, I feel. And that's one thing that I think has been a big part of my coaching journey is noticing that. I know in my very first accelerator training, when I was on with a reciprocal coaching buddy, we both had to practice a question and we had no idea. We were rabbit in headlights, like, how do we even coach? What do we do? Let's try this question out. And we both jaws dropped. We're like, wow, that just happened. You asked me this question, and all of a sudden, like, I had the answers. And yeah, as you can tell, I get very excited and have a lot of expression when I'm talking about this because it fills me up so much. And just seeing other people have that moment is just beautiful and just makes them realize there's a lot more in me than I realize, which is lovely.
Mm.
Um,
Bianca, I'm curious, can you remember what that question was that you were practicing with your fellow trainee?
oh, so I ask a few questions around this. I think it's more like just me feeding back the exact wording
Okay.
that they've said and actually being a
Mm.
bit like a parrot, but in a way that I'm reflecting back whatever they've said and maybe
Mm.
just challenging it. For example, if a client was saying, I've got two options here. This one is better, but they both make me feel rubbish about them. For example, getting up early on a morning. I get up early, I don't feel so great. But if I get up late, I don't feel so great either. So my question was, so if you don't feel great doing either, then which one is better for you? And the light bulb just clicked, and they were like, well, getting up earlier because obviously I get more done. I feel better for getting things done. And it was just like, why have I never thought of that? And for me, all I was doing was challenging their thoughts of what they've just said and just repeating that back to them. And they had this moment of, oh yeah, why have I not seen it like this before? And I found that so it's really just reflecting back and just challenging.
Mm. Two things occurred to me there, Bianca, as you were talking about that is we kind of circle back to the difference between coaching and mentoring, don't we? Where you were saying when you first were interested in coaching, you thought it was about giving advice, but clearly the example that you've brought today, it's very much not that. It's very much about listening really deeply so that you are able to do that. I love the phrase you used, the magic mirror moment. That's incredible. You're able to do that back with the client. And the other thing that occurred to me was how very simple a technique it is, but how complex the processes that are going on that allow the client to be able to respond in the way that they do. You know, who knows what goes on in our and their brains when we're able to have those aha moments. Um, if I can just share with you, just this week, actually, I do some co-coaching with a fellow coach, and I think she asked me something really simple, like I was struggling with a sense of connectedness, and she said, where does belonging what's the history of belonging for you? And I had immediately a thought right back to somewhere way in the past that I've never contemplated for, never contemplated, not contemplated for a long time. And suddenly it was there. Yeah, it is that, what did you call it? A magic mirror moment. Yeah, amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
One other
incredible.
thing, if you want me to add in, was that something I like to do is gentle accountability as well. That's something I do practice with my clients because it's more of support rather than pressure. But I feel when people know that they've got help and they've got that little bit of a boost, they follow through on the commitments to themselves. It's a lot easier to think, oh, no one's going to check up on me. It's fine. I just won't do this for whatever reason. Whereas if they know they're getting a gentle prompt rather than a teacher's here, come on, have you done your homework? It's more like a good morning, hope you're having time for yourself today, or you've managed to find that little moment of quiet or whatever it is their focus is in. They're like, thank you. Do you know what? I needed that reminder. And I found that that gentle accountability is really impactful for the clients that I've had so far anyway. So that's something I do like to do
Mm,
in my business as well.
that's a really useful tip. Thank you, Bianca. Um, I was going to pause there just so that we could apply what is another simple but really effective practice that all coaches learn as part of their practice, and that's kind of summarizing. Would you be able to just pull together some of the things that you think are critical to your learning around the questions that we ask, the reflections that we listen to, and feedback, and the accountability? How would you summarize that for somebody listening and watching today?
So I think with coaching, it's all about, from the coach's perspective, making sure that they are listening attentively. And there's deeper levels of listening. And that's something you can go into as well. But deep listening, ensuring that you are truly being present for the client and managing your energy. I also think that for anyone listening, if you're interested in coaching, it's around looking at where you are now and where you want to be. So, where you're looking to go towards, rather than looking back at the past, it's about getting yourself from where you are now and always remembering that the answers are within you and the coach is there to help you recognize those answers within yourself and facilitate that. And the accountability is something where it's someone supporting you because they've got your best interests at heart. It's not to punish you or make you feel bad if you don't get things done. If you don't, it means there's something else underlying which can be unpicked. Um, and it's just a really good space for people who are wanting support, but in a way of knowing I've got the answers, I just can't find them myself. Could someone help me? Give me the key or something to try and find it for me in a helpful way. So I'm not sure if that's answered your question as such. I've gone a bit off on coachy, but
That's great. Fantastic summary. Thank you, Bianca. And in fact, we are running right up to the edge of our time today. So thank you so much for guesting on Case by Case, Series 5 of 2020 Coaching Convos. And just one thing before we go, could you please, Bianca, tell us how you might be contacted and any upcoming kind of projects you got in the pipeline?
amazing. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been amazing to be on this coaching podcast. So people can find me on Instagram. I have two Instagram handles, Live Life Feel Good, which is my online business. And I also have the be_healthy_happy_you, which is my coaching business. So I've got two different pages there. I'm on LinkedIn under Bianca Vickers, and my email is livelifefeelgood with Bianca@gmail.com if anyone wants to get in touch. I think that's everything.
Wonderful. And we'll make sure all of that is in the episode description as well. As you were saying that, I was thinking, I wish there was a shorter form of underscore. It's such a
I
mouthful, isn't it?
know, I know.
Oh dear. But thank you, Bianca. And thank you to listeners and watchers. If you like what you saw and heard today, then please subscribe and share. and tell me what you want to hear more about on 2020 Coaching Convos with me, Julie Crabb. Till next time.